Okay, we ready?
Well, good morning. I hope you're doing well. We are back in Valheim, and while Gus is off doing his Viking duties, I am at home making sure that the base is nice and tidy, getting things organized, making some more coal for the smelter, all that fun stuff. There's never a lack of need for coal. Everything's looking good on this end. Let's go check out the swamp forge where we are processing some more iron because, of course, we went to another crypt. Right off the bat, we were greeted by the residents of the crypt, who were none too pleased to have us intrude on their undead peace. Gus easily kept them busy while I practiced with my staff, trying to aim and failing hilariously. One look at the first open room suggested we'd picked a fine spot to gather more iron. With at least 3 piles visible, we figured we'd be hauling home at least 2 or 3 stacks by the time we were finished. And with Gus having killed the spawner in the main area, we figured we'd be home safe once we found and killed the second one we could hear buzzing somewhere within the watery depths. Of course, while he was anticipating the iron, I couldn't help but notice the sheer number of mushrooms, perfect for future concoctions in meals. The first passage we decided to go down was having me rethink my calculations on how much ore we were going to be carting back to the smelter. Little did I know just how many of these piles we'd run across. The Max Dungeon Rooms mod was most certainly working overtime here, as we'd come to find out. Gus, as always, was doing a great job of taking the lead and protecting me from the mobs just beyond the doorways. He may be an archer at heart, but his tanking mobs is in his blood. Of course, he wasn't going to do all the work and wanted me to get a shot at testing out my mage's staff. However, it turned out the staff wasn't able to get over the partial blocks left by the ore deposits quite as well as the bow could. It didn't help that there seemed to be a never-ending supply of mobs in this area, a sure sign of a spawner nearby. Finally, we had that room cleared. I didn't think the mobs would ever end, but the chest provided some nice rewards, including several chains that we badly needed. And it seemed like every third room wanted to tell me the location of Bone Mass, which I found hilarious considering we'd already located 2 of his altars. Oh well, at least the game was trying to help out. Not every room was as friendly as that one, with one room spawning several one-star draugrs, including archers. Nasty creatures. And of course, they would always take the opportunity to aim at me first. Ouch! Once we both recovered our bodies, we decided to cart what ore we gathered so far back to the smelter. It was then that a strange bug occurred to Gus, one that made the game think he was in deeper water than he was. He even almost drowned in the air. Yikes! And odd, it only happened to him. It seemed leaving the crypt temporarily reset him back to dry ground, but going back in, especially to that area, caused it to happen again. So we quickly finished gathering all the ore we could and headed back to the smelter with it. It turned out to be a much better haul than I was expecting. Did I say 2 to 3 stacks? More like 10 stacks. Plenty enough to give us several upgrades we needed. And even with the strange bug, the crypt was a lot of fun. Well then, that was quite the adventure we had. It was fun. Dying aside and, well, you know, the occasional bug. Still, had a very good time and ended up with a lot of scrap iron to smelt. And the forges are doing good. They are running bright and hot, so we'll head back to base. Where, well, can't tell. It is daytime now. Still a little wet outside. Kind of dreary. Very dreary day. A good day to stay inside and tend the forge and kiln. And here I was looking forward to going out in the garden again. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I did, however, finally add a little bit of a fence around the back end of the garden. Now, is it a perfect solution? No. But it'll keep graylings and gray dwarfs from just casually falling into the garden and making a mess of things. Nothing planted right now, though. We've also learned a couple new recipes, although for the life of me I can't find them all. That's no surprise. Relight my candles here. Could it be at the forge? The iron battle hammer. Ah! Uses a draugr elite trophy to make. So yeah, that was something new. And the iron battle axe. They're both two-handed weapons. They require iron, ancient bark, and a draugr elite trophy. That might be something Gus might be interested in. An iron spiked cudgel. Hold on. Well, it's got blunt and pierce on it. This just has blunt. So between the two, it does about 55 damage at base. Has a knockback of 90. But it only has a 20 for block force. 21 for block armor. Does use a little more stamina. Might be an interesting one to have. We'll see after we're done making other stuff with the iron. Might make myself one. Other than that, not really a ton more new I'm seeing here. So I guess that's about it. Oh, bronze sledgehammer. That's old. Iron mace would be the upgrade to what I'm using. The base of that is higher than the maxed out version of the bronze. That might also be something I'll be interested in. Of course, mainly, I'm interested in my staff. And in order to make the next staff, I'm going to need something. Unfortunately, we only have one of them. Guess we'll be hunting some startings to get some more trophies. I don't want to lose the first one we got. We definitely have a few trophies, though. And Gus has even hung a few bows as decoration. Some shields over here. Place is coming together very nicely. Very cramped, But for first base, I would say it's quite roomy. Eventually, when we find a nice place near the plains, or in the plains, we'll build a new base, a bigger one, much better fortified. But that, I think, will be a little ways off. For now, we're just going to enjoy our time in this little spot here. Make the most of what we have. Perhaps, let's see. Where's the end of our space? Here. Aha. Well, if we absolutely have to, there's certainly room to expand. Perhaps we can even put in a walkway and add an extra building or two this way. That's a thought. That is definitely a thought. But for now, I'm going to go back in and get back to work on my smelting and making coal. And we'll see where Gus and I get off to next time. Until then, bye for now.